It was a crisp autumn evening in Vermont, the kind where the leaves whispered secrets as they fell to the ground. Emily Hartman, 28, poised and radiant, walked down the cobblestone path of Maplewood Park, her hands clasped nervously around a small velvet box. Today was supposed to be perfect, the day she and Michael Everett, 30, had been waiting for, their engagement, the moment they had dreamed about in quiet, stolen glances and long, late-night talks. But Emily felt a knot twist tighter in her stomach as she approached the little bench where Michael was waiting, his face soft with anticipation. "Emily," he said, voice trembling slightly, I have something for you." He knelt gracefully, the soft crunch of leaves underfoot punctuating the silence. The velvet box opened to reveal a gleaming, delicate ring, a solitaire diamond set in a band of gold so fine it seemed fragile yet eternal. Emily's hand trembled as he reached for it. She smiled, her eyes shimmering, heart soaring. But when Michael slid the ring onto her finger, it wouldn't fit. Her breath caught. A sharp, stinging panic rose in her chest. It's too tight," she whispered, trying to hide the flutter of embarrassment, but Michael's face mirrored something deeper. Concern, confusion, and an unease she hadn't seen before. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. "We can try another one, I can." Emily shook her head, laughing nervously though her pulse raced. "No, it's fine, really. Maybe it's just cold." But deep down, a shadow of fear settled in her chest. Something about the ring felt wrong. Not the size, not the style, but as if it carried a weight she hadn't anticipated. Michael squeezed her hand, trying to ease the tension. But Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something invisible had shifted. The air around them seemed heavier, the fading sunlight through the trees casting strange, long shadows on the path. As they walked back toward the car, Emily felt her heart pound, not from excitement, but from a quiet dread she couldn't explain. She tried to focus on Michael's warm, reassuring smile, the soft brush of his hand against hers, but her mind kept circling back to the ring and how it had refused her finger. That night back in their apartment, Emily couldn't sleep. The ring rested on her nightstand, catching the moonlight like a beacon, yet emanating an unnerving glow she couldn't rationalize. Every time she glanced at it, she felt as though it was watching her, waiting. Little did Emily know, that simple moment, the ring that didn't fit, would unravel everything she thought she knew about love, trust, and destiny. By the morning, her world would begin to tilt in ways she could never imagine. And somewhere in the quiet shadows of the city, someone was watching, waiting for the first crack in her happiness. The morning sun filtered weakly through the curtains, painting faint lines across the hardwood floor. Emily woke with a start, her dreams tangled with the strange, pulsing glow of the ring. She reached for it instinctively, the velvet box now closed, resting on the nightstand like a silent sentinel. Her fingers brushed the surface, and a shiver ran down her spine. Michael stirred beside her, rubbing his eyes. "Morning," he said, voice thick with sleep. "Sleep well." Emily forced a smile. "As well as anyone can," she murmured, though the unease that had shadowed her the previous evening hadn't lifted. She glanced at the ring again, half expecting it to shift or shimmer, but it lay still. Yet somehow it felt alive. Over breakfast, Emily tried to focus on the ordinary. The soft clatter of cutlery, the scent of coffee, the warmth of sunlight on the kitchen tiles. But her eyes kept darting to the ring, now on the counter beside her plate. Something about it seemed too precise, too deliberate, like it was waiting, calculating. "Are you okay?" Michael asked again, noticing her distracted expression. Emily nodded, forcing calm. I don't know, something feels off. Like the ring doesn't want me to wear it." Michael laughed softly, though a flicker of worry crossed his face. "That's unusual phrasing. Rings don't choose. It's just a ring, Emily." She smiled weakly, but in her mind a small voice whispered, "It's not just a ring." The day passed in uneasy normalcy. Emily tried to distract herself, checking emails, tidying the apartment, even calling her sister Claire, but her thoughts always returned to the ring. By mid-afternoon, the sunlight had waned, leaving the apartment in a soft golden haze, and she noticed something that made her blood run cold. The reflection of the ring in the kitchen window wasn't aligned with the actual ring. It wavered, shimmering as if it were breathing. Her heart skipped. She blinked, shook her head, convinced she was imagining things. But when she looked again, it was unmistakable. The ring's reflection seemed to curve toward her, its diamond catching the sunlight in a way that was almost sentient. That evening, Michael suggested a walk through the city park to clear their minds. Leaves crunched underfoot, the air crisp and scented with the promise of autumn rain. Emily tried to enjoy the simple serenity, but every passerby felt like they were watching. Every shadow seemed too long, too aware. As they reached the old fountain in the park, Emily paused. Her reflection in the water rippled unnaturally, and she swore the ring on her nightstand glimmered in tandem, even though she wasn't wearing it. "Emily," Michael's voice was tentative. "You're scaring me." I don't know," she admitted, her voice tight. "Something about the ring, it's not normal. I can't explain it." They returned to the apartment in silence, the city lights flickering against rain-darkened streets. That night, Emily's dreams became vividly strange, almost prophetic. She dreamt of corridors that twisted impossibly, of faces she didn't recognize but felt hauntingly familiar, and of the ring itself, floating, pulsing, leading her somewhere she didn't want to go. When she woke, the velvet box was open. The ring had vanished. Panic surged. She ran to Michael's side, shaking him awake. "Michael, the ring, it's gone. I didn't touch it." He jumped up, searching the room. The ring lay where it always had, on the nightstand, but it seemed different, smaller, sharper, almost glowing faintly in the morning light. Emily's chest tightened. The dread she had felt since the engagement curdled into fear. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't just bad luck. The ring was trying to tell her something, and somewhere unseen, someone or something was watching, waiting for her next move. By the end of the day, Emily realized a chilling truth. The ring's refusal was just the beginning, and her life was about to twist in ways she had never imagined. The next morning, Emily awoke to a cold draft brushing her cheek. The apartment felt different, not in size or layout, but in atmosphere. Shadows lingered longer, corners seemed deeper, and the velvet box with the ring sat ominously on the nightstand, as if daring her to touch it again. Michael was still asleep, his steady breathing a small comfort in the uneasy silence. Emily rose quietly, creeping to the window to let in some sunlight. That's when she saw her. A woman tall, slender, with long dark hair cascading over her shoulders, standing across the street, framed perfectly in the golden light. Her eyes were fixed on Emily, unblinking, piercing. Emily froze. "Michael, wake up!" Her voice trembled as she shook his shoulder. Michael's eyes opened groggily. What is it?" "There's someone outside, just staring at us," Emily whispered, pointing to the window. Michael blinked, then frowned, peering out. The street was empty. No woman, nothing. "Emily, it's probably a reflection, or a trick of the light," he said, though his voice lacked conviction. Emily's stomach churned. No reflection could feel this alive. The day dragged on, each moment saturated with unease. The ring's pulse seemed to grow stronger, almost syncing with her heartbeat. Emails went unanswered, the news felt muted, and even Michael's comforting presence couldn't shake the sense that someone, or something, was orchestrating her every move. Late that afternoon, as Emily prepared tea in the kitchen, she heard a soft tap at the window. Her heart leapt. Slowly, cautiously, she approached. There she was again, the stranger, her face pale, almost ethereal, and her eyes black pools that seemed to know every secret Emily had never spoken. She raised a delicate hand, fingers trembling as if in invitation. Then she vanished, leaving only the faintest imprint of cold on the glass. Emily spun around. "Michael, she's here, she's outside again." Michael rushed to her side, searching frantically. "Emily, there's no one." But Emily could feel it, the presence, the gaze that lingered even when empty air met her eyes. And then she realized something terrifying. The stranger was connected to the ring, to the pulse, to the strange, twisting sense that her life was no longer her own. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. The ring rested in its box, but its glow seemed stronger, almost inviting her. Whispered voices echoed in the apartment. The soft, melodic intonations of a woman singing a lullaby she had never heard but somehow knew in her bones. Michael stirred, murmuring, "Emily, it's okay, it's just your imagination." But Emily knew better. It wasn't imagination. The ring's refusal had been a warning, and the stranger was the messenger. Suddenly, a soft knock on the door froze her in place. Emily and Michael exchanged a glance, dread pooling in their chests. Who is it?" Emily whispered. No answer. just silence heavy and expectant. Her pulse quickened. Somewhere deep inside, she understood. The stranger had come to claim her attention, to pull her deeper into the mystery of the ring, and to show her that nothing in her life would ever be the same again. By midnight, Emily sat alone, holding the velvet box tightly. She realized with chilling clarity, the ring's refusal wasn't an accident, and the stranger outside the window wasn't merely a passerby. She was the key to the story that had already begun, and Emily had no choice but to follow. The apartment was silent except for the soft hum of the refrigerator. Emily clutched the velvet box tightly, her fingers trembling. Michael had fallen into a restless sleep hours ago, and every creak of the floorboards made her flinch. The ring's pulse seemed to sync with her heartbeat, an almost imperceptible vibration that demanded attention. Suddenly, a shadow flickered at the edge of the living room. Emily froze. "Michael," she whispered, voice barely audible. No response. Only the soft rustle of fabric, like someone moving too carefully to be noticed. Before she could react, a figure materialized in the center of the room. The stranger, pale, tall, with dark hair cascading over her shoulders, her eyes glinting like black mirrors. She smiled, slow and deliberate, as though she had all the time in the world. "Emily Hartman," the stranger said, voice soft yet piercing, echoing with a strange melodic quality. "You've held it for too long, the ring, the promise, the hesitation. I came to help you understand." Emily's chest tightened. Who are you? What do you want?" The stranger stepped closer, her presence warping the room, stretching the shadows unnaturally. "I am someone who remembers, someone who keeps the story alive. That ring you hold, it chose you, but it also waits for truth. And truth has a price." Michael stirred awake, groaning, disoriented. "Emily, what's happening?" Emily's eyes were fixed on the stranger. "Michael, don't move." The stranger's gaze shifted to him, unblinking. Ah, the other half of the story, how perfectly fitting. He does not yet understand, but he will. Emily's mind raced. The ring, the reflection, the whispers, everything was connected. And now the stranger was no longer just outside the window, she was here, inside their sanctuary, bending reality around her. Suddenly, the ring glowed fiercely, emitting a soft hum that filled the apartment. Emily felt her chest tighten, her pulse matching the beat of the light. She realized with a shiver, the stranger and the ring were linked. One could not exist without the other. "Why me?" Emily asked, voice trembling. "Why now?" The stranger tilted her head, eyes glittering with something between sorrow and obsession. "Because the story chooses when it is ready to be told. You are ready, and soon you will see that your choices were never truly your own." Emily took a tentative step back, holding the ring in front of her. I don't understand." The stranger smiled almost gently. "You will. In time, the memories will surface. The promises you forgot, the feelings buried, they are all part of the bond. The ring waits for acknowledgement, and I wait for understanding." Michael, finally realizing the danger, reached for Emily's hand. "We're leaving now." The stranger's form shimmered like mist, filling the room with an unearthly glow. Leaving is never so simple. The story has already begun, and the ring chooses its own path. You cannot escape it, but you may survive it. A sudden gust of wind slammed the windows, rattling the frames. Shadows twisted across the walls. Emily gripped the ring, feeling the pulsing draw her toward some unknown truth. The stranger's voice drifted as she began to vanish, fading into a whisper. "Remember or be lost. The story does not forgive hesitation." Emily sank to the floor, clutching Michael's hand, trembling. The apartment seemed impossibly quiet now, the air heavy with anticipation. She realized one truth with chilling clarity. The stranger's visit was only the beginning, and the ring would not release its secret without exacting its price. That night, as Emily lay awake, the glowing ring resting beside her, she understood. Her life had become a story she did not yet comprehend, and the stranger was the author waiting for her to read the first line. The next morning, Emily woke to the soft gray light of dawn filtering through the curtains. The apartment felt heavier than usual, air dense, almost charged with an invisible current. The ring lay on the nightstand, glowing faintly, pulsing as if breathing. Emily could no longer ignore the sensation that it was alive. Michael slept peacefully beside her, unaware of the shifting reality surrounding them. Emily's fingers trembled as she picked up the velvet box. For the first time, She noticed tiny etchings on the interior, delicate carvings that hadn't been there before, symbols that seemed to writhe and shift when she stared too long. She raised the ring to her eyes, and suddenly, the world around her wavered. The walls of the apartment melted into shadows. Emily's reflection in the mirror didn't mimic her movements. Instead, it stared back with wide, fearful eyes, mouthing words she could not hear. "Emily," whispered a voice, echoing from the mirror itself, soft but chilling. "Remember." She stumbled backward, heart hammering. Michael stirred. "Emily, are you okay?" It's the ring," she whispered, voice shaking. "It's showing me something." As she held the ring, the mirror flickered and a vision appeared. She saw herself in a grand hall she had never visited, dressed in a flowing gown, holding the same ring. Figures in shadows surrounded her, faces blurred, their hands outstretched as if demanding something she could not yet understand. Emily gasped, dropping the ring. The velvet box slid across the floor, coming to a stop near Michael's feet. He picked it up, frowning. "Emily, what's happening? You look like you've seen a ghost." She shook her head, struggling to catch her breath. "It's not a ghost, it's the ring. It's showing me moments I don't remember, choices I never made, promises I never knew I gave. And the stranger, she's involved. She's always been involved." Michael's jaw tightened. "We're dealing with something beyond normal. I can feel it too. The air, the light, it's like it's alive." Emily touched the ring again, and a new vision unfolded. This time, she saw Michael, younger, in another city, holding the ring and looking at a woman with the same dark hair as the stranger. There was a tension in his eyes, a promise whispered that now bound both of them. She staggered, heart aching. "Michael, it's not just me, it's us. The ring, it connects us, but it controls us. And the stranger, she's watching every heartbeat, every choice." The apartment grew colder. The shadows stretched along the walls unnaturally. Emily could hear the soft, melodic whisper of the stranger's voice from nowhere and everywhere at once. "Remember or lose what was promised, forever." Emily's hands shook as she clutched Michael's arm. "We can't ignore this. The ring, it's not just jewelry. It's a story, and we're trapped inside it. Every choice, every hesitation matters." Michael nodded, determination hardening his features. "Then we face it together. Whatever it is, whatever this story wants, we'll survive it. But we need to understand it, not run." Emily swallowed, looking down at the ring. Its glow pulsed stronger, almost impatiently. She realized a horrifying truth. The stranger had already set events in motion, and the visions were warnings, not suggestions. Ignoring them would come at a cost they could not yet imagine. As the day unfolded, Emily experienced fleeting glimpses. Shadows in the hallway that weren't there, whispers in the kitchen, reflections in windows that moved independently of reality. The ring's pulse grew more insistent, demanding attention, urging memory, and driving home one undeniable fact. Their story had begun, and the stranger's influence was tightening its grip. By nightfall, Emily and Michael sat in tense silence, the velvet box between them. Emily whispered, "We can't delay anymore. We need to find her. We need to confront whatever this is before it's too late." Michael took her hand, squeezing it firmly. "Then tomorrow we start together." The ring shimmered faintly in the moonlight, almost approvingly, as if acknowledging their resolve. But in the distant corners of the city, a figure watched, pale and patient, knowing the next chapter was about to unfold. And that hesitation was no longer an option. The evening sky was a bruised purple, clouds rolling like slow tides over the city. Emily and Michael walked cautiously through the narrow streets of their neighborhood, the velvet box clutched tightly in Emily's hand. She could feel the ring pulsing faintly, a heartbeat that seemed to echo her own nervous rhythm. Michael scanned the quiet streets, every shadow stretching unnaturally under the dim glow of street lamps. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" he asked, voice low. "We can't ignore it anymore," Emily replied, her jaw tight, eyes fixed ahead. "She's not just watching anymore, she wants something. And I need to know what." They turned a corner, and there she was, the stranger, standing beneath a flickering lamp as if she had always belonged there. Her dark hair flowed in the evening breeze, and her eyes caught the fading light, black and reflective, full of secrets and intent. Emily froze. There she is. The stranger's lips curved into a slow, unsettling smile. "I wondered when you would come," she said, her voice carrying an almost musical cadence, yet edged with something cold. "The ring guided you. I knew you would not resist for long." Michael stepped protectively in front of Emily. "Who are you? What do you want from us?" The stranger tilted her head, watching him carefully. "I am the keeper of what has been promised. That ring, it is not merely jewelry. It binds, it remembers, it judges. You hold its truth, and I ensure it is acknowledged." Emily felt the pulse in the ring quicken. A warmth spread through her fingers, followed by a sense of urgency she could not ignore. She stepped forward, confronting the stranger. "If you're going to tell me the truth, then do it. No games, no riddles." The stranger's smile softened, almost human, almost tender. "Very well. But understand this. The story has layers, and each choice reveals a new depth. That ring, it chooses who sees what and who remembers. You both are entwined in its tale. Refusal has consequences, and hesitation can be fatal." A sudden gust of wind rattled the lamp, shadows stretching and bending around them. Emily instinctively hugged the velvet box, feeling the ring's pulse spike, insistent and urgent. Michael gritted his teeth. "Then tell us, now, or we leave, but if this is dangerous, we face it together." The stranger's eyes gleamed. "You already face it, whether you acknowledge it or not. The ring's power is woven through your past, your present, and your future. Tonight, you take the first step. Follow me, or risk never understanding the story at all." Before they could respond, the stranger turned and walked down a side alley, shadows curling around her as if the darkness itself followed her. Emily and Michael exchanged a glance. Fear and determination mingled in their eyes. "Do we?" Michael hesitated. Emily nodded, gripping the velvet box tighter. "We have to. This is our life now. Every heartbeat, every choice, it's tied to that ring and her." As they followed the stranger, the city seemed to shift subtly around them. Familiar streets twisting, corners elongating, lights flickering unpredictably. The stranger was always just ahead, a constant, silent guide into the unknown. Emily could hear her own heartbeat in sync with the ring, and as the night deepened, she realized with chilling clarity there would be no turning back. The story had begun, and the stranger was leading them into its first chapter, one that might change everything forever. The alley ended abruptly in a narrow courtyard bathed in flickering torchlight. Emily and Michael paused, catching their breath. The stranger stood at the center, calm, almost statuesque, as if she had always existed there. The velvet box pulsed faintly in Emily's hands, a heartbeat urging her forward. "This is it," Michael whispered, his voice tight. "Where we're supposed to go." The stranger nodded, eyes glinting. "The ring leads the way, and the way leads to truth. Only by acknowledging the past can the present survive." Emily swallowed, heart hammering. "Past? What do you mean?" The stranger extended a hand. "Inside the building ahead is a chamber. It is not locked by doors, but by memory. The ring will open it, but only if you face what you have buried, what you have forgotten, and what you fear the most." The doorway was dark, the air heavy with a metallic scent. Emily hesitated, the pulse of the ring echoing like a drum in her chest. Michael squeezed her hand, grounding her. "We do this together," he said firmly. With a deep breath, Emily stepped forward, the stranger's presence receding slightly, just enough to let them enter. Inside, the chamber seemed impossibly vast, shadows stretching endlessly. The walls shimmered as if they were liquid, reflecting fragments of memories Emily didn't recognize but felt intimately familiar. The ring glowed fiercely. Emily held it up, and suddenly, visions exploded around them. She saw herself as a child, making a promise she couldn't remember to a woman with hair as dark as midnight, the stranger. She saw Michael, years ago, unknowingly entwined in the same promise, standing in another city, holding a similar ring. Emily gasped, stepping back. This isn't just about us. We're part of something bigger, something we were always meant to confront." The stranger's voice echoed from nowhere, yet all around them. "Every choice, every hesitation, every refusal has led to this chamber. The ring preserves truth, reveals lies, and tests hearts. You will not leave until both are acknowledged." Michael's jaw clenched. "Then we face it. We uncover everything, no matter how painful." The chamber shifted. Shadows grew longer, twisting into shapes that mirrored their fears. Emily saw a vision of herself rejecting the ring, abandoning Michael, losing everything. Another vision showed Michael forgetting her entirely, leaving the city in despair. The air grew colder, suffused with whispers of forgotten promises, each one demanding recognition. Emily felt tears prick her eyes. I remember fragments, faces, names, feelings, things I thought were gone. The ring pulsed violently, and a beam of light shot upward, illuminating a pedestal in the center. On it rested an identical ring, almost twin-like. Emily realized with chilling clarity, the ring she held was only part of the story. The other half awaited Michael, and together they had to reconcile the past to survive the present. The stranger's voice softened, almost human, almost pleading. Do not fear the truth. Accept it and the story may continue. Deny it and it will consume you. Emily stepped toward Michael, holding out her hand, the ring glowing in tandem with his heartbeat. We do this together. Whatever it shows us, whatever we uncover, we face it. Michael nodded, gripping her hand tightly. Together. As they placed their rings side by side on the pedestal, a sudden surge of light engulfed the chamber. Memories, emotions, and fragments of the past fused into a torrent of revelation. Faces, voices, and promises long buried rushed over them. The stranger watched silently, tears glinting in her dark eyes. Emily whispered, voice trembling, "It's all connected. Everything we feared, everything we forgot, it's all tied to the ring, to each other, and to her." Michael's voice was steady, resolute. "Then we face it, all of it. Nothing hidden, nothing left behind." The chamber quaked, shadows retreating, light intensifying. Emily felt the ring's pulse synchronize with her heartbeat completely. She knew that the first test had been faced, but the stranger's warning echoed relentlessly. The story does not forgive hesitation. The true trial has only begun. Outside, the night remained calm, deceptively peaceful, while somewhere in the distant streets, unseen eyes watched, ready for the next chapter to unfold. The night air outside the chamber was sharp and cold, biting at Emily and Michael's skin. The streets seemed unfamiliar, distorted, as if the city itself had shifted after the revelations within the chamber. Every lamp flickered, every shadow twisted, and the velvet box in Emily's hands hummed softly, pulsing like a heartbeat. A warning, a guide, a threat. "We can't stay here," Emily whispered, eyes darting around. She's not just watching anymore, she's testing us." Michael nodded, scanning the streets. "Then we confront it. Whatever comes next, we face it together." A sudden noise made them freeze, a soft, deliberate step echoing behind them. The stranger emerged from the darkness, closer than before. Her eyes were sharper, more knowing, and the faint glow around her seemed to twist the shadows unnaturally. "You've done well to reach this far," she said, voice melodic yet edged with cold steel. "But the story is not complete. You've only glimpsed fragments. The true test begins now." Emily's hand tightened around the velvet box. "We've seen the truth. We know the rings are connected. What more is there?" The stranger smiled, a slow, unsettling curl. "Truth is layered, and the ring does not reveal all at once. Your hearts, your fears, your weaknesses, they are part of the story. And the first step towards survival is facing the deception that binds you." Suddenly, the world around them shifted. The streets blurred, lights melting into streaks of gold and red. Emily and Michael stumbled, gripping each other's hands. When the city snapped back into focus, they were no longer alone. Figures emerged from the shadows. People they knew, familiar faces warped in impossible ways. Friends, coworkers, even neighbors, but their eyes were hollow, their expressions frozen in silent accusation. Michael's voice trembled. "Emily, what is this?" "The ring," Emily whispered, her pulse racing. "It's showing us lies. The things we ignored, the promises we broke, everything we've denied." The stranger's form flickered, now behind them, now ahead, as if she moved faster than light. Fear is a teacher. Deception is a guide. Only by recognizing both can you hope to master the story. And tonight your courage will be tested. A sudden gust of wind blew the figures closer, whispering accusations, each word laced with dread. "You forgot. You refused. You hesitated. You betrayed." Emily felt panic rise in her chest, but Michael held her tight. "We face it," he said firmly. "We don't run." Emily nodded, focusing on the pulsing ring. Its light grew, engulfing them in warmth and clarity. The whispers receded slightly, replaced by a soft, almost hypnotic melody. the stranger's song, guiding them toward understanding rather than fear. The stranger stepped forward, her eyes locking with Emily's. "You must see beyond the lies. The ring binds you, yes, but it also reveals who you truly are. Fail this, and the story ends in regret, loss, and oblivion." Emily's chest tightened. She glanced at Michael, who nodded with unwavering determination. Together, they stepped toward the center of the distorted street, facing the hollow figures, the whispers, and the stranger's piercing gaze. The ring pulsed faster, its glow illuminating the dark alleys and hidden corners, as if daring them to see the truth behind the deception. Emily swallowed, heart hammering, and whispered, "We're ready. Whatever the truth is, we face it together." The stranger's lips curved into a subtle, approving smile. "Good. Then the story moves forward. But remember, courage alone is not enough. Insight, trust, and sacrifice will be required. And the deeper the path, the darker the journey." From the shadows, the city seemed to pulse with unseen energy, and Emily realized with chilling clarity, nothing would ever be the same. The stranger had escalated the stakes, and the true danger was only beginning. The city around them had transformed into a labyrinth of shadows, a twisting mirror of reality that seemed alive. Emily's heart pounded, each beat echoing the pulsing ring in her hand. Michael stayed close, his grip firm, but his eyes mirrored her fear, an understanding that whatever came next would not allow for mistakes. The stranger emerged from the darkness, her form wreathed in a faint luminescence, eyes glinting with a secret only she possessed. "You've walked far, and yet the hardest truth awaits," she said softly. "The ring does not merely reveal, it demands, and every revelation comes at a cost." Emily felt a chill crawl up her spine. What cost? The stranger extended a hand toward the street, which rippled like liquid. The hollow figures, friends, coworkers, strangers, coalesced into a single, enormous reflection of Emily herself, her eyes wide, lips moving silently. The figure reached out, and Emily's pulse raced. "This is the truth you must face," the stranger said. "The ring remembers what you forget, and what it remembers it claims. You hold the bond, but to continue to survive, you must sacrifice the part of you that hesitates, that doubts, that fears." Emily's fingers tightened around the velvet box. I don't understand. Sacrifice what?" The reflection's eyes glowed with the same eerie light as the ring. It whispered words she knew she had thought buried. "You cannot keep everything. One choice will break another. One love, one memory, one truth must be given." Michael swallowed hard. "Emily, it's testing us. The ring, it's asking us to make a choice we weren't prepared for." Emily shook her head, panic rising. "But we're together. We've faced everything so far. Why must it be more?" The stranger's voice softened, almost pitying yet firm. "Because stories demand clarity, not compromise. Hesitation will cost more than comfort. The ring, it does not forgive. The price of truth is always exacted." Suddenly, the world shifted violently. Shadows coalesced into twisting shapes, pressing in from every side. The ground beneath them seemed to ripple like water. Emily and Michael held each other tight as a vision engulfed them, a memory not their own. They were in a vast hall, the air thick with the scent of burning wax. Candles lined the walls, and a single figure knelt before a pedestal holding two identical rings. The figure's face was Emily's and Michael's, and yet neither. They were being shown a truth across time, a chain of promises and sacrifices that had been made before they were born, before their love, before their lives intertwined. Emily's voice broke. We're part of something older, something bigger. The ring, it's not just ours, it's ancestral, eternal, and it demands what was owed." The stranger nodded. "Yes, and now it demands of you. One of you must offer what the ring seeks, a memory, a part of yourself, a truth that binds your soul to the story. Only then will the next path open." Michael's hands trembled as he took Emily's face in his palms. We can't lose each other," he whispered. "Whatever it asks, we face it together." Emily's eyes glistened with tears. "But it's not just about surviving. It's about losing something we love, something essential to who we are." The reflection reached closer, and Emily felt an invisible tug, like the ring itself was pulling her toward surrender. A quiet, horrifying thought whispered in her mind. "To save each other, you must lose yourself." The stranger's form shimmered, a warning and a guide. "The story is merciless. The ring chooses the sacrifice. Choose wisely or it chooses for you. Emily's chest tightened, Michael's hand on hers anchoring her, as the pulsing of the ring surged. They realized with chilling clarity, the hardest test was not surviving the stranger, not following the path, but relinquishing something vital of themselves without losing each other. The air grew cold, shadows deepened, and the city around them seemed to hold its breath. The next move they made would define not only their love, but their very existence within the story. The city seemed to hold its breath. Shadows curled and stretched unnaturally as Emily and Michael stood in the heart of the pulsing labyrinth. The ring glowed brighter than ever, almost alive, demanding attention, demanding a choice. The stranger appeared before them, calm yet impossible to read. "This is the moment," she whispered. "The ring requires clarity. One of you must offer what is most precious, memory, love, or essence. Only then will the story continue, and only then will survival be possible." Emily looked at Michael, her eyes filled with tears. "We've faced everything together. I can't do this alone." Michael shook his head, resolute. "We don't have to. Whatever it asks, we face it together. Nothing comes between us. Not fear, not loss, not this ring." The ring pulsed violently, and the reflections around them shimmered, showing countless possible futures, some bright, some horrifying. Emily realized with a pang, the ring wasn't asking for one of them to die. It was asking them to surrender the part of themselves that clung to doubt and fear. Summoning every ounce of courage, Emily held the velvet box high. I give myself fully to this story, to the truth, to whatever it demands. But I do it with him, not without him." Michael mirrored her, placing his hand over hers, and together they whispered, "We choose each other, and we choose the truth." A brilliant light erupted from the ring surrounding them. Shadows screamed and twisted, then dissolved into nothingness. The city shifted back into familiar shapes, the streets steady, the air lighter, the threat withdrawn, the ring's test complete. The stranger watched silently, her eyes softening. "You have understood. The story continues, and you have earned the right to live it, fully aware, fully together. But remember, every choice shapes what comes next. Hesitation will never be forgiven." Emily and Michael held each other tightly. The velvet box now rested quietly in Emily's hands, its pulse slow, calm, no longer demanding but acknowledging their resolve. Emily whispered, smiling through tears, We did it together." Michael nodded, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Always together, no matter what comes next." The stranger's form shimmered one last time before fading. Her voice lingered in the air like a melody. "Remember, every story waits for the brave." Emily turned to the camera, a soft smile breaking through the tension. If you enjoyed this journey, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for the next chapter of the story. Every choice matters, and every story deserves to be shared. Michael added with a grin, "And ring the bell so you never miss a twist. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens next." The camera pulled back, showing the quiet streets now at peace, the city holding its breath no longer. Emily and Michael walked forward, hand in hand, ready for whatever the story and the ring might demand in the future. The screen faded to black, leaving viewers with a lingering pulse of suspense, a promise of more, and the thrill of a story that refuses to be forgotten.